At 7:22 this morning, the President of the United States posted 6 words. The U.S. will hit Iran very hard tonight. And then he said something bigger, that America is going to take this island, the one that moves 90% of Iran's oil to the world. That is their ATM machine. And if that sounds insane, he already did it once this year to an entire country. And the proof is sitting in a New York jail cell in a Nike tracksuit. This is the real reason he's doing it and why Iran just said, try it. Okay, here's where we are. I'm going to keep 2 things in separate boxes the whole way through. What's actually confirmed and what's just a threat. Because right now, everywhere you look, those 2 things are getting mixed up. And here's the short version. Real strikes are happening. A real precedent has been set, and a real threat from Iran has been coming back the other way, albeit in the form of small boats and a drone. We saw their ballistic missiles. They have been basically useless. They flew a drone into the side of an Apache helicopter. And this is a dangerous moment, but the seizure itself, this hasn't happened yet. Stick with me, because the part that makes this real is the part nobody's putting up front, and it has everything to do with what already happened in Venezuela. And we know about Delta Force. So let's start with what we actually know. Overnight, the U.S. military hit Iran again. Air defenses, radar, command and control, all of this was confirmed by U.S. Central Command. And this wasn't a one-off. It's at least the 6th round of strikes since the so-called ceasefire was broken down in April. This is a rhythm now, night after night. Then this morning, the Post drops. More coming tonight, he says, plus the big one, taking Kharg Island, and assuming, quote, total control of Iran's oil and gas. So I want to be precise here. He says more is coming. And as I'm recording this, tonight's strike is not confirmed. Hold on to that distinction. It matters. Now, why this island? Why does Kharg matter so much? This is Kharg Island. And CNN, if you want to believe it, has confirmed that they have reportedly spent months reinforcing Kharg Island. It's almost like they knew what was coming. So this is an image here of this coral island with all of their oil storage. It's tiny. It's in the northern Persian Gulf. It moves roughly 90% of Iran's crude oil exports. And about half of the entire Iranian government's revenue comes from oil and gas on this one island. That is Iran's economic lifeline. If you take it, you do 3 things at once. You choke that lifeline. You get a platform to strike the Iranian mainland. Think about that little road there in the middle. I'm sure that could probably be an airstrip. And you get leverage over the Strait of Hormuz. Another thing, you get leverage over China. You get leverage over North Korea, probably Pakistan. You get leverage over all of these countries that are dependent on Iran. And here's the thing. This isn't new ground. The U.S. has already bombed Kharg twice this year, March and again in April. But both times, they spared the terminals. They spared the piers. They spared the oil storage facilities. And I don't know if this is for reasons of decency or if this is what we really want, if this is what President Trump really wants. So what's changed? The escalation is the whole story. We've gone from hitting military targets on the island to threatening to seize the island and its oil outright. Bombing it is one thing. Taking it and keeping it is a completely different magnitude. And that's what he's now threatening. Now, the one thing that Iran has done, and a lot of their proxies have done, is that they have basically turned you all, a lot of people back here in the United States, against the whole operation. You can see some of the statistics here coming from Kharg Island. 7 million barrels a day. It's 57 kilometers basically in length. It's not very big. But what the Iranian regime, the IRGC, has done very well, and it's threatening what I would say the support here at home, is it is raising gas prices. And you would have people that would typically and be full support of the United States military now calling for the military to get out and give it back to them. So that's where the leverage that Iran has used is starting to turn against the president. I believe the president is aware of this. I believe he is aware of the sentiment coming out of homes across the United States, the kitchen table, the truckers that are driving down the road, buying $6 and $7 diesel. It almost feels like every place in America has turned into California. So that's what the president is up against. He's got a real conflict brewing in Iran. He's got basically kitchen table conflicts brewing here in the United States. And the president's like, you know what? The real reason I believe the president has to make this move, there's no backing down. We are at a point of no return, where if he does back down, it's a sign of weakness. And every other country watching this knows that they can just wait this guy out. They can wait out the United States military. Now, over the last month during this ceasefire, and it's led me now to believe the president had some other stuff going on. He actually admitted that they had gotten out hundreds of oil tankers to lower the price of oil across the world. So he's doing a favor to countries that hate us. So here's the real reason I don't believe this is an empty threat. And it's part of what most of the coverage is skipping right past. It's the comparison to Venezuela. And he says right there, quote, working out brilliantly for both Venezuela, much like we have Venezuela. That's not a metaphor. That actually happened. And if you would have went back to January 2nd, would you have thought that on January 3rd, United States Special Forces captured a Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, in Caracas? They flew him in to face narco-terrorism charges. And the United States now controls Venezuelan oil sales. Venezuela is a much larger country than Kharg Island. Now, that's not me speculating. That's the Congressional Research Service. That's NPR, that's Reuters. Now, if we do seize Kharg Island, would Iran bomb their own infrastructure? And I think part of the reason we're not seeing the bridge and power plant day is that I think he is hoping that the Iranian government gets overthrown and the real rightful leader, Pahlavi, comes back into office with infrastructure that he can actually use. It would be so easy to destroy everything and then just hand over this broken country to this leader. That's why I think this lands differently. I think it's a little different than just tough talk. And we all know that Trump likes to, poke the bear and call certain people words. He likes to make fun of Rosie. But I'm going to be straight with you because this is where some of these hype channels are going to lie. Even in Venezuela controls Messi. Maduro's allies still hold a little bit of ground, their government. The money flows are murky. So when he says it's working brilliantly, that's his characterization, not a settled fact. Keep that in mind. And the other half, nobody's leading with. This is not a one-way ultimatum. Iran already answered a senior Iranian official, the head of their parliament's National Security Commission, called Trump, promising a crushing, painful, regret-inducing response if the U.S. tries to take Kharg. He called Trump confused and erratic. He said Iran and the island are fully prepared. How many of you believe Iran is fully prepared? And Iran may hold some cards. They don't hold all the cards. We know that because of the hundreds of tankers that have come out of there. Trump was like Tony Soprano. They've disrupted shipping before. They could do it again. but I don't think they cut off their nose to spite their own face. So picture it this way. Two sides walking towards the same cliff. One says he'll take the island. The other one says try it, which brings it home. What does any of this actually cost you? The Strait of Hormuz carries all of this oil, and we know what is happening here at home. You have all of this disruption. You have people arguing one side or the other about whether or not you support all of this. But oil prices are dropping as we speak, and I'll show you this. This is all falling because of this de-escalation, or is it falling because the president says we're about to be in charge? I'd love to get your opinion on this because it's a master class. And he says here, 100 million barrels of oil is making its way through the strait. More than 200 commercial ships have already went through. If Iran really controlled the Strait of Hormuz, would the president have been able to get 200 ships through the Strait of Hormuz? Is that what Iran calls control? Because that doesn't sound like control to me, and it probably doesn't sound like control to you. Leave a comment down below if you like this type of content. I'd love to get your feedback on where we're going with the channel. More importantly, where we're going with Kharg Island. Are we going to see that happen? Are you underestimating the president of the United States? A lot of people have. A lot of people have been disappointed. A lot of people have been surprised. It's the guy that got hit in the ear and got up and did the fist bump. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.